It's over. It's over. We've been set free. The bad man can't hurt us anymore. I can't believe it. I wasn't going to believe it until I saw it. And it's finally happened. Bears lose 23-20 against the Detroit Lions on the road on Thanksgiving, giving the Lions their first Thanksgiving win since 2016, and it's the first time the Bears lose on Thanksgiving in 5 tries. But that's not the storyline of this game. Matt Eberflus has been fired. Hallelujah! Rejoice, Chicago. The bad man can't hurt you anymore. He's gone. Finally, they were able to pull the plug on this experiment and fire a head coach mid-season for the first time in franchise history. As you can tell by the first minute of this video, I'm not recording this on Thanksgiving. I waited till the morning after on Black Friday to record this video, and obviously it's a little bit after Matt Eberflus has been announced to be fired by the Chicago Bears. So that is a big reason why I'm kind of going to be switching the focus of this to straight vitriol and frustration, like some of the other people that have made content reacting to this game, to more of a celebration. Honestly, like, the loss stinks. It's yet another ridiculous mismanagement of late game situations by Matt Eberflus. And somehow, someway, they finally, it took 3 of the worst losses, most heartbreaking losses in Bears history, against 3 really good NFC North teams, for them to finally pull the plug on this experiment and just admit they picked the wrong guy and they're going to just can him. So before I get too deep into the weeds of Matt Eberflus, I'm going to talk about this game that we saw on Thanksgiving and how this is the game that led to his firing. Now look, I've seen a lot of people say if he wasn't going to get fired after Arizona or New England, and he's continued to lose and couldn't find a win before Thanksgiving against the Lions, then it felt like that was going to be the time to finally cut him. And that's what happened. The Bears lost 3 division games by a combined 7 points in 11 days. And all in equally heartbreaking ways. How does that even happen? For the last 3 weeks, and yes, for the last 3 games, all Bears fans were saying, or at least, again, for the last 3 weeks, I've been telling myself, I'm not going to get my hopes up. I'm going to go in, say, hopefully Caleb looks good, and if they lose by 2 scores, I don't care. I don't care, right? I've been trying to set myself up and set my expectations up for failure, because that's what's going to happen, right? We've been watching this team for years and years, and they find a way to fumble the bag every time. So, why waste time giving yourself hope if you just have the expectation that you're going to lose right from the get-go? Hurts less, right? Hurts less. At least that's what you think. That's what you think going into these types of games. And then you see Caleb Williams getting the ball down 1 point against the Packers and lead them down to a potential game-winning field goal. And then it gets blocked. Then you see Caleb drive a touchdown, lead the team back from 11 points down in the final 2 minutes of the game against the Vikings, only to lose in overtime. And then you watch Caleb Williams again lead a drive down the field that started at their own 1-yard line, inside the Lions' 30, to try and set up a game-time field goal. And they can't even get the field goal off. How in the world do you find 3 brilliant ways in pretty much almost the exact same scenario 3 times in a row? How do you find 3 separate, equally heartbreaking ways to lose these games? Now look, Justin Fields had a similar issue. We all blame the O-line. We all blame the coach. We did everything we can because guess what? Justin Fields was the reason they were in a lot of games in 2022. They were in plenty of one-score games because of Justin Fields. Just look at that game against Miami, for example. Over, 150 rushing yards, and he was over 170. And they still lost. They put up 32 points. Doesn't help when your defense lets up 35 on the regular that season. But regardless, That was 2 years ago. It feels like this 6-game losing streak and losing in heartbreaking ways. 4 of these 6 games. I mean, you have no other choice. There is no choice. He's got to go, right? And look, I'm going to be real with you guys. Bears never fired a head coach mid-season. I didn't think it was going to happen. Once they fired Shane Waldron instead of Matt Eberflus after the New England game a couple weeks ago, it felt like they're using Waldron as the scapegoat to try and keep Eberflus throughout the season. And in the 3 games since, his defense has played like trash. And his offense, which is the part of the game that he's not controlling and Thomas Brown is succeeding. They are putting you guys in position to win football games, and the defense can't do their job. Special teams has fumbled the bag several times over these last 3 weeks, though they did not have a screw-up in this one, specifically in Detroit. But there's just total undiscipline from the team. That is something that happened on Thanksgiving. Plenty of undisciplined and silly penalties, pre-snap, holding type stuff. 2 offensive pass interference calls against Cole Kmet. 1 in an absolutely critical 4th down situation. There's a lot. There's undisciplined. It doesn't feel like the team wants to play for Matt Eberflus, and it's been very apparent that's been very apparent since the Hail Mary. They've played 5 games since then, and it took you that long to understand that the team doesn't want to play for Matt Eberflus, and now he's losing the locker room? Look, bottom line is, I have no idea how you're able to keep him after a loss like this. Yet another game squandered by poor clock management. We've seen this now 3 times in 6 weeks. You go back to Washington. Yeah, we're still going to talk about this. That is a game. Those last like 15 seconds killed the Bears season. Because guess what? Matt Eberflus doubles down. Says those yards before the Hail Mary didn't matter. Oh, yes, they did. They mattered because they got a chance. And then you can't call a timeout because you think you guys are set when you're not. And then you can't. Arizona and New England happened. The team doesn't want to play for either you or Shane Waldron. And then Waldron gets fired. And there's this rejuvenation, at least on the offensive side of the ball. And they're able to move the ball down the field. Now, took a second, but Caleb Williams made big throws against Green Bay, especially on that final drive. Something we have not seen from a Bears quarterback in a long time. Then you go into that game against Minnesota. Dazzling throws all game long, leads the team down the field, picks up 2 touchdown passes in the 4th quarter. Amazing performance. And you look at Caleb Williams in this game, bailing you out of your own incompetence by going from a 16-0 halftime deficit to outscoring the Lions 20-7 in that second half with 3 touchdown passes from Caleb Williams. By the way, no quarterback had thrown for even 2 touchdown passes against the Lions this season. And Caleb Williams just threw for 3 in 1 half. So he is constantly, in these last 3 weeks, bailed you out of your own incompetence. But you override the whole process and say, no. We're losing this game. I'm going to find a way. You want to win this game? You want to win this game? Too bad. I'm going to find a way. We're going to let up a bunch of big-time conversions, long plays on 3rd and long, 2nd and longs. We're going to find a way. Oh, you see that clock? We're about to tie the game? I don't got a timeout. I don't need to use it. We're going to be fine. And then, I don't know how you keep a guy like this when you go and see him up on the podium after the game on Thursday and say, yeah, that was the right situation. I wouldn't have changed a thing. If you went back and you replay it, I wouldn't have changed a thing. What? Are you kidding me? He has done this like 4 times now. He has doubled down on bad coaching like 3 or 4 times in the last 6 weeks. And finally, George McCaskey and Kevin Warren have had enough. And they tell Ryan Poles, do your job. Fire him. And he does. Were there some plays where Caleb Williams could have been better? Yes. But again, he's a rookie. And he's the sole reason why this team was even in this football game in the first place. Yes, the defense stepped up in that second half. They only allowed 7 points. But regardless, they had a terrible first half. Though big play from Tyreek Stevenson, boom, leveling that shoulder, making Jahmyr Gibbs lose all his rings. And Gervon Dexter scoops it out of the air. Great play late in the first half. And that could have, But you get to sit there, and if Caleb Williams isn't the quarterback, and they still have Justin Fields in this scenario, just think about it for a moment. All three of these games are most likely blowouts. The fact that all three of these games were decided by 3 points or less says something about the offense and the reluctance for this team to give up, but also says something about this team cannot finish. This team cannot finish. And how many times has it been on Caleb Williams? You could argue, well, can't Caleb Williams call a timeout? He set up the presser. Can't do that. I'm too focused on making sure we get the playoff. That is not my responsibility. And that apparently has been established that is not his responsibility. That's not on him. Should it be his responsibility? Should he be in a good position? Yeah, but he's a rookie. He's got to learn this type of stuff, and he won't if his head coach keeps making decisions like this. Run the clock down to try and set up a 46-yard field goal against Green Bay when you could have run a couple more plays. He's playing not to lose. But in this case, against Detroit, he was playing to lose. You kidding me? It's just baffling how ridiculously incompetent he is as a head coach. And Caleb Williams and the offense tried absolutely everything to overcome his BS. They tried absolutely everything. It is unreal how these guys can go out there and play a solid game, but find a way to end up on the losing side of things in heartbreaking fashion 3 times in a row. Like, this wasn't a game where the Bears went and tied it, and then the Lions, had like 4 minutes left, and they methodically were able to drive down and kick the game-winning field goal. It's not one of those games where it's like the Lions kept the Bears' offense off the field. This wasn't one of those games. The Bears were in possession of the ball to tie the game. It wasn't like Detroit got the ball back with 5 minutes left and they killed the clock. No. This was the Bears had the ball at their own 1-yard line. And Caleb Williams drove them down into field goal range. He took a bad sack. Yes. Can't do it. But you look at that play. Where in the world is Larry Borum? He is supposed to be blocked. The guy pretty much had a free rush. He's not even done with his drop back, and he's going down to the ground. But in that situation, Matt Eberflus should be saying, timeout. We have a timeout we can use. Timeout. Like that situation, you're in panic mode. If you don't have timeouts, you gotta do that. You gotta make sure that you are running the play, get the play in. You may get only 1 play left, but you gotta make sure you get a play. But they have a timeout to use. And why would you save it? You get a quick play enough, you're able to down the ball. Like, it doesn't make any sense because you take the timeout there after the sack. Simple, easy. You got like 35 seconds or whatever, right? You can run another play, try to work the sideline. He doesn't get out of bounds. You got to run your field goal team on. Okay, so you're basically telling Caleb Williams only throw on the sideline. It's either a completion out of bounds, a completion to a receiver who then steps out of bounds, or an overthrow just to an incompletion. That's it. That's all that can happen. You cannot be tackled in front of the sticks because then you got to rush the field goal team on. Can't spike it and everything. You pick up the first down. You find a receiver in the middle and you pick up a first down. Boom, run up, spike it. That's exactly what he did last week. And you kick the field goal. Tie game. Simple enough. These are coaching basics. And Matt Eberflus does not even have that. After the game, so many players, once again, were calling out coaching. Keenan Allen, I felt like we as players did enough to win that game. When Kyler Gordon was asked about the late game situations and how they find ways to keep losing in a sense, right? He's kind of laughs it off, Sits there for like 5 seconds. It's just like, next question, no comment. Because he knows that there is only one right answer to that question, and that is the head coach. So, like that itself. Then you got Jaquan Brisker, who is on IR, by the way, and hasn't played a game in like 2 months, going out on Twitter and posting throughout the game, and is just befuddled. He's just baffled. And then he's celebrating like everyone else that Matt Eberflus is fired. When that's a sign that you lost the locker room weeks ago. And he did. I don't understand it. They finally made the right decision. It took 3 of the worst Bears losses in a row against all 3 of your division opponents to finally fire a head coach midseason. That's what it took. And I don't think it'll ever happen again. But this right here cements Matt Eberflus's legacy as the worst coach in Bears history. So, who's the interim head coach? Who's it going to be? Well, it's Thomas Brown. This guy went from passing game coordinator to head coach in about a span of 3 weeks. After Waldron got fired, he became the offensive coordinator, and now he's taking over Matt Eberflus's position. I'm really interested to see what happens because, of course, being a head coach, Thomas Brown cannot call from the box. So he's going to have to be on the sideline. I'm interested to see what happens here. I think Thomas Brown's the right pick. He's breathing new life into this team. The offense is behind him. They want to play for him. What a concept, by the way. You want your players to play for you, the coach. What a concept. So, he's got the offense on his side. And now he gets the trial because there are rumors that, well, maybe he becomes the next head coach. And if the Bears have any thought about actually hiring Thomas Brown as the next head coach of the Bears, you give him the trial run. You give him something that no other head coaching candidate that is on your list can do. Coach and be a head coach for your team before actually getting the job. This is his audition. If he wants the position, he plays well in these last 5 games. And it's against a tough schedule too. Now, you look at the 3 games that Caleb Williams has had since Thomas Brown took over as offensive coordinator against the 9-3 Packers, the 9-2 Vikings, and the 11-1 Lions. He has over 800 passing yards, 5 touchdowns, and no picks. He's got the highest passer rating allowed by the Vikings defense this season, and the second highest passer rating allowed by the Lions defense this season, only beat out by Sam Darnold. That is really, really good. That's special against really, really tough defenses. Because that was the big sticking point before the bye. Caleb Williams is playing well, but he's playing against really bad defenses. What happens when he goes up against that Packers, Vikings, and Lions defense? Well, he's shown up. He's, of course, had some rookie mistakes. We can all admit that. There are some rookie mistakes in there. But the flashes of greatness are there. And in this stretch, he's broken the rookie passing yards record. He broke the most touchdown passes thrown by a Bears rookie quarterback, which was set, by the way, in 1942. That record stood for 82 years. And it was only 11 touchdown passes. Caleb Williams just broke it. We all expected him to break those 2 records this year. But the third one is a really impressive record. He set the record for most passing attempts without throwing an interception by a rookie in NFL history. He's over 200 passing attempts without throwing a pick. The last pick he threw was in the second quarter against the Jaguars. Did he have 2 that got nearly picked in that game against Detroit? Yeah. But he broke that record. And honestly, those 3 games out of the bye, that Shane Waldron was still the offensive coordinator, he was not only was he not throwing for any touchdowns, but he wasn't throwing any turnover-worthy plays. They were playing incredibly safe with the football and not letting Caleb Williams be Caleb Williams. And then when he became, when the offensive coordinator let Caleb Williams be Caleb Williams, he's thrown a couple more turnover-worthy balls, but he's also hitting balls down the field. He's hitting throws downfield. Does he need to work on the deep ball accuracy? Of course. But at least they're taking shots and trusting in the quarterback. Now, don't get me wrong, that first half was awful. That first half was downright awful. Offense couldn't get anything going. I think, 3 or 4 3-and-outs to start the half before the takeaway from the Bears defense, which the Bears were finally able to turn into a first down. But you look at that second half, over 200 yards passing and 3 touchdowns, no picks, against one of the better defenses in the league. That's impressive. That's phenomenal. Keenan Allen had 2 touchdown catches in this one. A nice catch and run for 31 yards. Able to spin out of a tackle and get into the end zone to get the Bears on the board. And then one of the gnarliest routes I've seen all year from a Bears receiver on the second touchdown, where he just shakes off his defender enough, wide open, boom, easy touchdown. And that's why you have Keenan Allen, because he may be a little old, especially in NFL terms. That guy can still play. And these last couple of games have really shown it. DJ Moore also had a nice day. He struggled a little bit early on, but they got him going a little bit, and he caught a nice 31-yard touchdown pass on a corner route from Williams, which brought the Bears within 3 points. DJ Moore overall so far this season has had a very hit or miss performance. Not as what we expected as him being the number 1 receiver, but still came through, made a big-time catch. But this is another moment where you realize this team is way too talented to be 4-8 now. They are the first team since the 1955 Eagles to play 12 games, have a positive point differential, and have 4 or fewer wins. They have a +1 point differential right now after the 3-point loss. I mean, that itself should get a head coach fired. You have scored more points than your opposition through 12 games, and you have only won 4 of them. That is ridiculous. The only other team in the NFL that's wasting talent like this is the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are having career years right now. Trey Hendrickson's playing out of his mind, but the rest of that team cannot perform right now, and they're letting up a lot of points. And despite Burrow throwing for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns in some of these games, they're still losing football games. It's really tough in that organization as well, and in the Chicago Bears organization. You want to see them win that game in San Francisco and finally able to put a full 60 minutes out there. Because let's be honest, the Bears really played a good 29 minutes in this game. They played well for the majority of the second half up until that last minute. And you can completely discredit that first half. That first half was a complete wash. Complete wash. A terrible first half. But Thomas Brown made great adjustments. And then Matt Eberflus came in at the last minute and said, "Oh, you guys want to win? You guys want to win? Really? All right, watch this." And he finds yet another wildly ridiculous way to lose a football game. I mean, I know my voice has been cracking a little bit throughout this video, but I mean, that kind of is a reflection of how annoying this coach has been for the last season and a half. If they go out and they win their next 2 or 3 games against the Niners, Vikings, and Lions, I mean, there is no better proof that the head coach was the problem than if the Bears win their next 2 or 3 games. You watch that game and you're just like, seriously? Again? You find a way to lose again like that? And then you wake up and you're like, he's gone. He can't blow games like that anymore. The team is free of the toxic culture. They can start anew for the last 5 games of the season, and then they have to nail this next coach right. They have to. That felt like Ben Johnson's audition to become Bears head coach. And it felt like he did a good job. Had a couple of really nice plays. Of course, his offense stalled in the 4th quarter, but they found a way to win the football game. That's what good teams do. They find ways to win. Bad teams find ways to lose. The Bears and the Chiefs are 2 opposite sides of the same coin. Bunch of 1-score games this year. The Bears have lost almost every single one of them. I think that makes them 2-6 or 2-7. 2-6 in 1-score games this year. The Chiefs are 10-1. They have, I think, 2 wins. I think they're 8-0 in one-score games this year. I think that's what it is. 8 or 9-0. That's the difference. That's it right there. Find ways to win close games. Matt Eberflus has shown time and time and time again he cannot do it. He's not good enough. And he deservedly is going to the unemployment line. Well, good riddance. Eberflus is gone. Hopefully you can find another job somewhere and become Matt Nagy and be a good coordinator again. Because guess what? Some coordinators are just not built to be head coaches. So a ridiculously frustrating game because, again, I was just hoping for them to just, if they were going to lose, just go ahead and lose. Get destroyed. Get blown out. I do not care. And then they make it a game. Oh my gosh. They get the ball down 3. Oh my gosh. They roped me back into it. I'm getting real sick and tired of it. And if they lose next week, it's going to sting. But now we have the peace of mind that Matt Eberflus can no longer hurt us and this organization. Hope you all enjoyed this video, even if it is coming out a little late. Please give it a like if you liked it. Please hit that subscribe button if you want to see more content from me. And keep the conversation going in the comments below. And without further ado, I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.